I enjoy talking about rhythms in nature and how much value it can have for mental health. If you have faith that things can change, the saying, this too shall pass. No cross, no crown. Difficulties aren't hurdles on the road to God. Difficulties are the road. All of those adages, those wise sayings, come from experience, repeated experiences that we pass on to one another. We call those archetypes very often. If you have faith in human relations, ordinarily speaking, it's because you've had some direct experience with another human being, right, whereby that faith is warranted. There's another way to have faith in human relations, though, that comes from something much deeper. Perhaps your direct relationships with particular people has not been good. But over the course of human development, other relationships have been good. And there's a way of pulling those things. They come to you in dreams. They can come to you in literature. Right? You can look afar at someone else's life and see something that, though it may not be occurring in your life, it is nonetheless potential in your life in terms of that rhythm. So at this point now, there are a lot of behaviors in the world that suggest death or death-dealing things, things that give us cause for hopelessness, right, in the environment. That can stop people from progressing in growth because it has no meaning. What's the value? It's not going to end well anyway. So for those of us who can perceive larger patterns, older patterns in rhythm, right, and say, don't be stopped. Don't be stopped. It becomes a way of enriching the possibilities for change, even for those who themselves are afraid, right, of all the possibilities being defunct. So right now, I think in terms of our patterns, we're moving fast, very, very fast. And there are dangers involved in moving so fast in history that you don't take time to think. So one of the rhythms we'd want to have then is to look back to where are those times in life? Who are those people in life where stepping back and taking time to think had a major effect on the possibilities for change that they were able to evoke? Many of those people we term to be wise people. Some of them may not have been noted in history. Most of them will not have been noted in history. But they will have done something distinctly different than average. They impose hope where other people wouldn't be able to gain it. They're valuable in that sense then, because if you can have a relationship to them directly or indirectly, it gives you a way, if you can care, you open up to them. Things that we don't care about, we can't feel for, we can't learn from. We dismiss anything that we can't learn from. You understand? So if you in fact don't dismiss someone, you open an opportunity to learn from them. You may lead, you may follow, but there's some learning may occur. There's a deep need at this particular time in history for us to reach for, right, wisdom. Wisdom is long in its development. It may be quick in its effectiveness, but it's long in developing. So generally speaking, right, if you're going to look for wisdom, you have to look for people that have developed qualities of patience, intense looking, intense availability to shift the meanings that they're finding in events so that they can find some way to confer hope on something that otherwise looks totally despairing. Things aren't looking good nowadays in one sense. And yet, we can meet individuals and say, that individual looks good. Things can look dark. You can find instances that suggest daylight always comes, right, despite the fact that things are dark. So if you then use symbols to say, when it's dark in human development, how does light occur? What would constitute light if things are dark in the general status of human development? What would constitute light? Love would constitute light. Faith would constitute light. Hope would constitute light. Perseverance would constitute light. Those things we call virtues, things that mitigate or lessen chaos as opposed to extend it. We commonly tell people when there's something difficult going on, don't panic, because panic extends the chaos as opposed to containing it. Important then to find anything that contains, lessens, transforms something chaotic is virtuous. Looking for virtuous personalities, believing in virtuous personalities, becomes the way that we maintain hope. Commonly we worship, if you go to the religious traditions and you look at the image of Christ or Buddha, right? Yeah, you end up worshiping, but nowadays more important is to actualize rather than to simply worship. So if I see the actualized experience, then I don't have to think of otherworldly religion, that someday in some place in some high heaven, right, there'll be good times. If you actualize what is Christly, if you would, right, what is sagely, right, then I can have it now. So finding in books, finding in the minutiae of everyday life people that actualize virtues, that help to get through, that mitigate, lessen chaos, that's worth studying. It's tremendously worth studying.